This unit monitors the front line around the clock using at least 5 drones. They capture Russian soldiers in the most unconventional ways, and in just 1 year of full-scale war, they destroyed over 100 enemy armored vehicles. This is the story of a former beach manager and the K2 battalion, which became one of the most effective units throughout the war. In K2's videos, you can see shots of mortar launchers in action against the backdrop of burning land. These scenes are not staged.
It happened in Marinka. The position was caught in flames. Our soldiers were trying to extinguish it, but meanwhile some armored vehicle approached our front line. I said, let it all burn, but you must keep firing. And they were both burning and firing, firing and burning. That moment was captured in a photo, and I decided to use it in the opening sequence as it represents the reality of our lives.
The stories of K2 seem like something out of a Hollywood movie script, but they are all true-life stories. In one instance, the unit's fighters captured a Russian soldier using a drone. His unit had been entirely destroyed, so he received a signal to follow the drone to survive.
Interestingly, at first he was darting from one Russian trench to another, but his comrades forced him out each time. He later shared with us that he was warned something like this: "Get out of here, or a drone will arrive and throw a grenade." They simply kicked him out. When he realized there was nowhere to hide and we could see him and potentially eliminate him at any time, he decided to surrender.
Following these events, the Ukrainian General Staff even released a special guideline for Russians on how to surrender to Ukrainian drones. On another occasion, a K2 drone was used to steal the walkie-talkie of a Russian soldier who had been killed in the gray zone. For 11 days, they listened to the enemy's communications, gaining information on the Russians' plans in advance. Soldiers also used drones to eliminate mine barriers by dropping explosives on them to trigger detonation. Drones are indeed one of K2's key assets. This combat group is among the few that continuously monitor the front line from the air, 24/7. Thanks to this, K2 has an unprecedented amount of information about what is happening at the forefront. Nevertheless, they do not rely solely on drones. K2 commander Kirill Veres proudly displays the trophies the unit captured in just 2 enemy attacks. 1 automatic rifle equals 1 enemy destroyed, and this accounts for only about 20% of what we were able to capture, he says. K2 also deploys American Javelin missiles, making sure the Russians have fewer tanks in service. In total, the unit estimates that during the first year of the full-scale war alone, they destroyed more than 100 armored vehicles, even though the war began for them long before February 2022. K2 is the 2nd Mechanized Battalion, and in general a highly specialized unit within the 54th Brigade. While its exact size is not disclosed, there is evidence to suggest that it is up to 1,000 soldiers. The core of this combat group was formed by scouts after the onset of the hybrid war with Russia. Since then, these infantrymen have become proficient in handling mortars, armored personnel carriers, tanks, and artillery. The commander of K2, 35-year-old Kirill Veres, holds the highest state award, the Hero of Ukraine. In 2014, he began assembling skilled fighters, even though he hadn't considered a military career before the annexation of Crimea and Russia's invasion of eastern Ukraine. Before that, Kirillo worked as a beach manager in Kyiv. It was in honor of Kirillo and his patronymic Kirillovich that the name K2 was adopted. In the early days of the full-scale invasion, the unit faced the enemy in one of the most dangerous areas, near Mariinka. At that time, 15 tanks and 7 armored personnel carriers approached their positions.
When my officer said, "We won't make it," I replied, "You are underestimating yourselves. Whether it's 15 tanks or 20, they all burn the same. Sure, they might shoot a bit more, but they burn the same way, so shoot faster, shoot more accurately, and we'll come out on top."
The K2 soldiers managed to resist and destroyed half of the enemy's armored vehicles in just 3 days.
We don't want to boast, but wherever our battalion was, wherever our mission was, we always held it together.
Following the Mariinka battle, K2 took positions along the Siversk-Soledar line. The confrontation for the position known as the T-shape became legendary. During one intense battle, a Ukrainian tank attacking a dug-in enemy ran out of ammunition. So then, virtually unarmed, it used its tracks to crush the enemy's positions. Eventually, the Ukrainians secured the position without further fighting. During an exchange with a prisoner they dug out of the ground, they asked, "So how does it feel after a tank?" To which they replied, "Brilliant."
I don't know of a single case where a person has 3 bedrooms and is happy to surrender one of them to someone. I have never been to Crimea, but this is my land. Why should I give it to someone else? When the Russians took it away, I actually felt like going there. So why should I hand over a part of my home to someone else?
It appears that they're not willing to stop.
Wake up in the morning and kill Muscovite. Only then will this day be worthwhile.